Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wonderfully Hopeless podcast. My name is Charity. I am cracking open a root beer tonight. It is 6:30, and it is May 15th. It's Wednesday. It's been 2 weeks since I made a video, and what a 2 weeks it has been. This would be better if it were something else. But hey, we're going to stick with the root beer. So what has happened? Well, as you know, it's the end of the school year. And I didn't film last week because I had to get my final in. And I needed to study. And I was going to take my final Wednesday night. Yeah, my plans went sideways. I got a call, I think it was Tuesday morning, it could have been Monday morning, it's such a blur. I got a phone call before 6 o'clock in the morning. Let me just say, if you get a call before 6 o'clock in the morning, the odds of it being good news is really slim. And it was horrible news. My husband's sister, who was suffering from the same disease that my husband has passed away. So, that changed all the plans. Yeah, I think it was Monday night. Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. Like I said, the week was a blur. So, my brother-in-law called me to tell me. So I had to wake up my husband and tell him. And I went to work. And then when I got home, or when I got to work, or on the way to work, I called my mom in case my husband had a really bad day so that he could, she could come check on him if needed. He did fine. But call my mom to let her know. Just because, again, I was at work. And if she was in town, have her stop by. She didn't, but besides the point. Then I had to call my husband's other sister who lives in Virginia. Well, I texted her first because I knew she would be at work. She had just gotten to work and she didn't know, so I told her. Then I had to call my nephew, who is overseas for the military, and tell him. It was a rough morning. It was a really rough morning. So, based on my sister-in-law and her spouse coming home for the funeral, and I knew that the weekend, the funeral was likely going to be on a Friday or a Saturday. I knew the weekend was going to be busy, and so was the rest of the week likely. So, I stayed up until like 10:30, 11 o'clock taking my final. Because I wanted to get it out of the way. I didn't want to stress over it. There was almost no way I could fail the class, but I really had wanted to keep my A. Sorry, Billy. No. And, I bombed the test. I had my notes, but it was late. It had been a stressful day. And I just did not do well on the test. I got a C, so it wasn't the worst grade ever, but it was definitely low enough that I no longer have an A, so that didn't make me thrilled. Water under the bridge. So we had the funeral on Saturday. I hate funerals. I really hate funerals. I think everybody hates funerals, but I have been to far too many funerals in my life. I really hate funerals. And I know that at my age, I'm just going to continue to have to go to them, and it sucks. And I feel nothing but empathy for my brother-in-law and his kids dealing with this. But it was a Catholic Mass because my in-laws are Catholic. And I was fine with the readings. I was fine with the music. The homily, that was another story entirely. If I had to hear one more time about the horrible disease, when my husband is suffering from the horrible disease and I'm having to watch the suffering from the horrible disease, and I'm the one taking care of somebody suffering from the horrible disease, and having to think about what I've had to watch my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law go through, this really could be something else. So, that was all great. Not. And as always, when do you see family? When there's tragedy. Weddings and funerals, unfortunately, because we live apart and I am an introvert. Thankfully, I have a few friends who are extroverts. So yeah, it was rough. But we got through it. First couple days this week were rough. My husband obviously had a hard time dealing with the funeral and hearing about his sister suffering when, you know, he's got the same disease. So, you know, that's rough. So, he's getting back onto an even keel. It is the last week of school. I have one more final to give tomorrow. I have my teacher checkout and I'm done. And on Sunday, we leave for New Orleans. I'm taking my husband on a trip. I will say the one thing that became an eye-opening thing is, especially with this disease, I mean, life's short anyway. When you add this disease on top of it, it's really short. And New Orleans is on his bucket list, so we're going to New Orleans. Probably not the smartest thing, but it's a non-refundable hotel, so we're going, because I've shelled out the money for it. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to take him. He is looking forward to the trip immensely. We are likely going to have another trip on the horizon. But we have to come back to doctor's appointments. I unfortunately have been putting off the biopsy, so I have to get that done. Hopefully in the next couple weeks. I am waiting on the doctor's office to call me to schedule that. I'm hoping we can get it scheduled this week. If they call me while I'm in New Orleans to schedule it, that's going to be way harder. I have my phone, so I'll just put it in the calendar. But I need to get it done. Jim's got doctor's appointments, specialist appointments when we get back. So there's all that joy of specialist appointments. So much fun. Need to make it a lawyer appointment. All the joys. The joys. Plus there's the work stuff. I'm actually looking more forward to the work stuff than the other. I don't like doctor's appointments. And I really don't want to have to do this biopsy. That's going to suck. But such is life. But New Orleans, I found one yarny, cross-stitchy store. I can't remember the name of it, but I have it bookmarked on Google Maps that I want to go to, and it has both yarn and cross-stitch, so it's like a double hip hip hooray. So I'm excited about that. I've been practicing my knitting without looking at it so I can walk and knit, because I have a feeling this trip is going to be incredibly stressful, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to take my crafting with me. So, there is that. So I've been practicing that. I have a couple projects with me. I am going to be packing Friday afternoon, or probably Saturday. I've got a pile of stuff, you know. I'm pre-packing, or I purchased some things like bug spray and sunscreen and the after sun care and bug bite stuff, and since we plan to try as many foods as we can, I got heartburn medication for my husband. I've got all the painkillers for the arthritis because I'm going to walk all over the place. So my arthritis, I'm sure, is going to be so happy with me. Don't care. Doing it anyway. So there's all that. I had to pick which cameras to take. That was a whole fiasco. I think I have them picked, and I've got memory cards, hopefully enough memory cards. I'll probably take my computer so I can offload if I need to. I have some extra memory cards, so that should help. What else? Yeah, super excited. So we're not going to focus on the bad. We're going to focus on the good because that's just the best way to do it. I can't focus on the bad, otherwise it's just not good. So, what crafting did I get in the last 2 weeks? As I'm sure you can figure out, probably not a lot. Although I got more knitting done than I thought because, well, I'm pretty much done at work. It's just putting in a few grades, getting a few papers signed, a few odds and ends paperwork things, but mostly I'm sitting around going stir crazy. I am going to say that when the kids spend a whole whopping 20 minutes taking a 100-question final, that gives you like an hour and a half of you and kids going stir crazy. I played chess today. I played checkers today. I watched The Magic School Bus, and yes, I teach high school. But we had a lot of downtime, and everybody was going a little stir crazy. So I gotta think about this for next year. I think I'm going to have to do something different with my finals. I already knew that was coming, but they're also thinking about switching up the schedule a little bit, so because it's just too much downtime and kids just don't take finals as seriously as they did when I was in school. I mean, my parents cared about what grade I got on the final as much as they cared about my overall grade. So if I got a bad grade on the final, I was in almost as much trouble as if I got a bad grade in the class. So, and that's not as much the case anymore. So yeah. Alright. Crafting. I have done some. Alright. Let's start with cross stitch, because we just have the mermaid. Oh, and I just threw a new deal somewhere. I'm going to love finding that with my foot. Oh well. Alright. So here's where we're at. I have put quite a bit of work in on her. There is just a little bit of confetti left in her hair. I'm really trying to knock that out because everything else is beginning to get to large blocks of color. Once I get this, so the page stops right about there. So, and it's like line in here. So this page is almost done. There's pretty large blocks of color up here. And then there's a page here and a partial page here. And this is huge swaths of color too. So there's not a ton of confetti here. So once I finish this last little bit of confetti, it is pretty smooth sailing for the rest of this project. So I'm trying to decide if I want to take this with me or not. I really hate not working on it for a whole week. I mean, I've done that often enough, but since my goal is to finish it this year, I hate not working on it for a whole week. But at the same time, I'm not going to have my magnification. I'm not going to have great light. And this pale on pale is really hard on the eyes. So I think I'm going to take it home, or leave it here, and I'm just going to have to put some extra time on it. The fact that I'm probably going to have to take another week-long trip at some point this summer, or potentially I have to take a week-long trip sometime this summer, I'm a little concerned about, because I need to get a good chunk of this done over the summer so that I can finish this by the end of the year. I would like this finished and framed for Christmas for my husband. So that is the goal. I'm nowhere near. I'm at 44%. And it's the end of May. Or mid-May. So I'm a little concerned. I know that once I get through this, it's large blocks of color, massive amounts of blacks. Because we start getting darker as we come across here. So the sky starts getting darker and the water gets darker, and then there's a pirate ship in the corner over here. So it's gonna get like the sky. It was pretty large blocks of color and not a ton of confetti, and down here was some confetti, but this was more larger blocks of color. So anyway, not as much confetti once we get past the mermaid. So, and mostly just her hair. Her hair was where, and her face had a decent amount of confetti. So, she's looking really good. I'm really happy with her. I think she's going to stay home, and I'm going to hope that's not a mistake. But, I don't know how much time I would have to work on her. It depends on how my husband does with this trip as to how much time I have at the hotels. But I am going to take cross stitch with me. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I really hope I don't step and get that needle stuck in my foot. Alright, next up is knitting. So that's really the only cross stitch I've worked on. I really want a new start cross stitch wise, but I really want that piece finished, so I have really been focusing on that. As you can see, it went into the Q-snap because I did take it outside the other day when we had a really nice day outside, and I sat outside and worked on it for a little bit. Yeah, I also wanted it to be able so I could go if there was company or something last weekend. I could go sit with company and work on it if that became an option. It didn't, but it was in its Q-snap anyway. Alright, next up, we have the Worsted Weight Boxy. This is by Joji Locatelli, and you don't want to drop the needles. So you can see that's where I was. This is where I'm at. I've been trying to do 30 minutes a day on this one, and so that's just where I'm at, is trying for 30 minutes a day. I've been doing a little bit better on the 30 minutes a day. So am I making great progress? No. Am I making progress? Yes. So we're going to take it and we're going to go with it. So I need to put liverbacks on all my progress keepers because I like them so much better. So I'm at, I think I measured at 15 inches, I think, might be 14 or 15 inches, and I got to get to 19, so I've still got some work to do. But slow and steady. It's not like I'm going to need this until November. So it is getting work done. It should be done by November. Although Sleeve Island would be fun. Alright. So I've been working on that. Like I said, I'm trying for 30 minutes a day. Doesn't always happen, but I'm trying. I have several projects I'm trying for 30 minutes a day. So it just depends on how busy I am. Last week I was really busy. So I just tried to rotate through, and if I did 30 minutes on that, then I did 30 minutes on the next. And the next day I would just do the next in the 30-minute rotation until everything had seen 30 minutes. So, and there's only really 3 projects, and I threw in a 4th one, and that didn't, it's seen a little time, but yeah. Alright, next up is what I am calling my Solar Eclipse project. Let's see, where was I at? Alright. So that's where I was, and this is where I'm at. So this, was very loosely based on Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart, and then I, of course, made modifications. So, what have I done? Let me move the Progress Keeper, because otherwise I forget to move them. Alright. So we have 3 colorways. The orange is Ring of Fire. I'm going to have to find labels. Oh, the labels are all with the balls of yarn. These are all indie dyed. I've got on Etsy. No, not all of them are on Etsy. But they're all solar eclipse themed in some way. And then this multicolored lighter one is... I'm going to have to... all the tags are in the... with the cakes. So this is Living Dream Yarns, and it's Helios. So it looks like that. I started this the weekend before the eclipse, or maybe the day of the... maybe it was the day of the eclipse. I can't remember. No, I started the Sunday and the eclipse was on Monday. So I started it like a Habitation Throw, but at this point I'm kind of doing my own thing. And yeah, I'm going to call it a shawl. It could be a circular blanket. I'm just using 3 skeins of yarn, so I think it would be a little small for a shawl or a blanket. So we'll see. It's mostly mindless knitting and then yarn over rows. So I'm doing, now that I'm to the stripes, I'm doing a yarn over in the orange. I'm doing 10, actually it's technically 11 rows of the colors. So it's 5 rows, a row of yarn overs, 5 more rows, and then between the 2 colors is 3 rows in the orange. So just a regular row, yarn over row, regular row, and then I switch to 10 rows of the next color. So that's what I'm kind of doing. Just because I wanted to. It's supposed to be fun and easy, relaxing, which is what I wanted and what it is. There's no big hurry. It's just an easy, pretty mindless. There's not a lot of counting. There's not a lot of stressing over it. Really enjoy it. It's living in my... why am I pulling everything off? That's another thing I get to find now. It's living in my Lila Styles 80s cartoon bag. Because, yeah, Gen X. Alright. So there's that one. Well, and that charm is going to need major repair. So let's just pull that off. And I will fix that later. Because it came off of the lobster clasp. Which is convenient, because now I'm just going to put it on a lobster, or on a paperback. So, yeah, there's that one. Alright. The other thing in rotation has been my Tunisian crochet. So I started this for St. Patrick's Day, so it is showcasing all my lovely green yarns. Let's get the crochet hook out of here. I really love these crochet hooks. So as you can see, that's where I was at. So these are all Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn. Do not remember the colorways, but I've gone through the different greens. What one am I working on now? Of course, I don't have the tag with it. So, yeah, they're all Leading Men Fiber Arts. I was doing their minis club, so I have like a ton of their minis, and for my own personal beliefs, I have decided I am no longer going to be purchasing their yarn. So, I love their yarn, and they can do their business practices the way they choose. But I think I'm going to choose to support a different yarn dyer for now. So, that being said, loving it. I'm really enjoying all the greens. I'm enjoying the Tunisian crochet. Is it perfect? You can see my center spine is not perfect. It's a little wonky, but I don't care. I am really just making a giant triangle scarf. I started it following a pattern, and of course, I just started it. Crochet, I rarely stick to patterns unless I want a very specific look. I just was new to Tunisian crochet, so I decided to buy a pattern to just start. But yeah, no, I'm kind of doing my own thing. So it's mostly just the regular simple stitch, and then I'm just doing a mesh stitch for a couple rows to add some visual interest between the different greens and to give it a cohesiveness. So that is the third project that I am trying to rotate and make sure everything gets 30 minutes, hopefully a day, but you know, as close as I can get. And then I decided I have 3 blanket projects, and this one is the furthest along and probably the easiest one to work on. So this is the My Favorite Things blanket. It's just a corner to corner. So it was inspired by Kay Jones' pattern. I am not doing her patterns per se. I'm at this point just doing a corner to quarter blanket. It's got stripes. It is 2 fingering weight colors held double. It is based on the months, so January we had nice colors. These are both Knit Picks colors. One is inspired by the Aurora Borealis, and I forget what the other one was. So this was Northern Lights. I forget what the other one was. February was a dragon fruit color that I got at ZK when I went to ZK, and a Knit Picks color, Hope, I do believe. And then this was 2 Hobby Lobby colors, and this is also 2 Hobby Lobby colors. And at this point, I am just stitching on it. I'm trying to get this into the rotation of the 30 minutes because I thought it would be super awesome to have a super squishy blanket. So this was bedtime knitting before I started the sweater, and then the sweater kind of took that spot. And so I'm trying to get this somewhere back into the rotation again so I can do 30 minutes on it and see some progress. Let's move the stitch marker, although, you know, I haven't done much work on it. I got a few rows. I guess on a blanket, slow and steady wins the race, huh? This clasp and having no fingernails is not going real well. So there's that. Alright. Next up we have socks. Alright. So my purse knitting. This has seen a lot of progress. I don't even know where I was when you guys saw it. Alright, so apparently my camera decided to stop for an unknown reason. So, I only have 2 more projects to show that I already talked about, and now I get to talk about it again. Alright, we're on socks. So, my purse knitting, I think I had barely started this last week, and I have a finished sock. So that is pretty good for me. And then, not only do I have a finished sock, which, you know, not bad for me, I have an almost finished sock, and this has all been done like this week. I started the cuff Saturday? Maybe? Yeah, I think Saturday. Maybe Monday? I don't remember. I got to, you know what, I had to have, because this is what I got done Monday. I got the cuff, and I got here on Monday. And then I got to halfway through the heel flap on Tuesday. And then, no. That's where I started Monday. That's where I got to the end of day Monday. End of day Tuesday, I ended here. And this is where I ended end of day today. And I am very close to the toe. So, in all likelihood, this will be finished tomorrow. Because I'm just going to finish it. By the time I get finished with knitting at work tomorrow, if I'm not done, I will probably just finish it. So there's that. So, I mean, if you compare, that's all we got left, and the toe starts at that green stripe there. So I got 1, 2, start the 2 stripes, and then I start the heel. So this will for sure be done tomorrow. And that is like the fastest I have knit socks. That is unfortunately the end of the year. I have no motivation to, like, I tried to work on school stuff for next year, but yeah, brain power not there. So that's that pair of socks. Alright, the other pair of socks is for my husband, and socks are very mindless knitting at this point. I do them on 9-inch circs, and I do them all the way until I get to probably halfway through the toe before I switch over to DPNs. So I finished off the foot and the toe over the weekend, and have started the next one. So here's where I'm at on these. These are theoretically for my husband. However, he told me that he's having difficulty getting heels on his feet, and all of the socks he has right now are either magic heel, which he prefers, or afterthought heel. So we're going to try this heel. If he doesn't like it, I'm going to give this pair to my nephew, who's a little bit bigger foot, but this should still fit. And then I will knit my husband some magic heel socks. So once I finish this pair, we'll see if he likes it, and if not, I'll give it to my nephew, and I will make my husband some magic heel socks from now on. So that is where my crafting stands. Let's talk about plans, since I am going on a trip. So I'm probably going to take my husband's sock because it's already started, and I have a problem. My sock is going to be finished. So I caked up some yarn. So first off, we have, let's see if I, this is this month's Yarnable. So that's what it looks caked up. And this is Berry Citrus Bliss. I thought this was like the perfect start to summer. So I will start a pair for myself. I think they're going to be shorties. And that'll give me enough yarn to do a second pair. And my husband's cousin, I think I've met she is a little bit, I can't say kid. She's younger than me. I met her maybe twice in my entire adult life. However, she has been reaching out and has just been so sweet. And given that I can't say my family has been super supportive ever, but recently it is really nice to have friends. I have two amazing friends that I don't know what I would do without, both of who watch this video, so hey guys. But it's just so sweet. My husband's cousin, and she suffers from the same disease my husband does, so she's got her own trials and tribulations, but she's been reaching out to me and was so sweet last week with everything that was going on. I think I want to knit her a pair of socks and maybe her daughter. So I think I'm going to knit, I can get for sure 2 pairs of shorties out of this because I have huge boat feet, but I'm gonna bet she does not. So can easily get 2 pairs of shorties out of that and go from there. And it makes me happy to be able to give knitting to somebody else. My brother-in-law wants to try hand knit socks again. He has tried them in the past and they just weren't working for him. So they didn't fit right, and after they brought me back one of the pairs to fix, and after looking at the pair of socks, I think the problem is I need to go up a size. So instead of doing a 64 stitch around, I'm going to do the 72. So caked up and ready to go, we have Patons Kroy, and this one is Mid-Century Stripes. So I have 2 50-gram cakes, caked up and ready to go with a 9-inch circ in here and stitch markers. So those 2 projects are going in my suitcase. So I have 2 pairs of socks. I am probably going to take one of my, or 2, or all 3. It's me. I'm gonna try and limit it to 1, but I need variety, so at least going to take 1, if not 2, of my 30-minute knitting pieces. I'm probably going to take the sweater and the Tunisian crochet. Give myself options. And then this has been going back and forth to work with me. I kind of want to get it started. I think I'm going to put it in my classroom next year. It's a really simple piece. Probably won't take me that long to stitch. But I thought this would be perfect for a classroom. So it's a Lizzie Kate. And it says, "Promise me you'll always remember you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." It's a good thing for me to remember, and I thought it would be a great inspirational message for my kiddos. And you know, you don't think the kids pay attention to what you have hanging in your classroom, but they really do. And I try and be very intentional with the different things I put in my classroom. So inspirational things like this are what I tend to gravitate towards. So I have the pattern, I have the floss, I have the fabric, I have a needle and the stitch marker and hoop. And my plan is when I finish socks to start this, but at this point, if I don't start it tomorrow or Friday, it's going to go in my suitcase so I have cross stitch with me. Everything's all together and it's a nice small little pouch. Easy to work on. I can stitch it pretty easily. The hoop could probably stand to be a little bit bigger for the piece, but I can deal with that. So there's that. I'm really trying to be reasonable with my crafting. I might pop in another cross stitch, but if I did, it would probably be the We Believes piece. I just need to print the pattern because I'm not taking the iPad, although the iPad makes my life easier. I can work on paper patterns, I just don't like it. So that's the next week's plan. So obviously I'm going to be in New Orleans. I'm not going to film a video next week. And then when I get back, I'll try and get a video in, but it's the holiday. We get back the day before Memorial Day. We have Memorial Day, and then my husband has a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. If he's feeling up to D&D, because that's a lot for him to be doing. If he's feeling up to D&D, then I'll film the video. If not, it'll be 2 weeks from now. It'll be 2 weeks break. But I will try and get out a video. I do have a fair bit of school stuff that needs to get done this summer, so I will probably put myself on some sort of schedule where I do some crafting and some schoolwork each day, so everything gets done, so I get a recharge and I get schoolwork done. So that's my goal. We will see what happens. I think that is it. Yeah, I want to continue listening to my Mercy Thompson audiobook because the new one is coming out in a month. And so I'm rereading the whole series because I haven't read it 20 million times. Every time the new book comes out, I reread the whole series. So you'd think I have the story memorized. I pretty well do. But that's what I do every time. So I'm going to continue on with that. I'm going to get this video put up, and I'm going to stitch on my mermaid, and I'm going to enjoy my root beer and wish I had some ice cream to drown my sorrows in. I don't. I will drown my sorrows this time next week in really amazing food. I cannot wait for shrimp po' boys. Shrimp po' boys and shrimp po' boys. I'm trying to find some places to stop along the route, but it's an 11-hour drive, and I'm probably not going to do that much stopping. Plus, you know, pet sitter and the dogs and all that life jazz. So, yeah. So I hope everybody is having a great start to their summer. To my kiddos watching, enjoy your summer break. To everybody else, good luck with kiddos at home, and I hope you have a great crafty week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye now.